Episode 6. The Fake Proposal. Christina, will you marry me? It was one of those magical nights, illuminated by the moonlight, making the entire aura of the surrounding romantic. The Eiffel Tower was basking in the glory of another love tale completing. It seemed like a scene straight out of a fairy tale. Christina, will you be mine forever? He proposed again. Her eyes had tears wrapped within the eyelids. Her heart was filled with hundreds of mixed emotions, but her lips were not in sync with the heart to express them. A proposal at the backdrop of Eiffel Tower is considered the legendary proposals of all times. She was bound to get butterflies in the stomach sort of sensation. Steve clenched her hand, squeezed it a little, and drew her back into senses. After she regained consciousness, she could not repress her tears, and a few drops rolled down her cheeks. Steve popped up the question again. I want to spend the rest of my life with you, Christina, and I want that rest of my life to start as soon as possible. Will you marry me, Christina? She swabbed the teardrops away, managed to curve her lips into a smile, and said, Yes. Steve slid the ring into her finger, planted a kiss on her cheek, and embraced her in an ode to the occasion. And cut, the director commanded. Steve leaned closer, gave her a tissue paper, and murmured, You should have been an actor. What a surreal performance it was. For a moment, I believed it to be true in all senses. He was glancing at her eyes while he said this. That's when a cameraman approached and intervened at the moment. He came to show Steve the video that he had shot. That's exactly how I wanted it to be, Steve praised. Christina understood that this dreamy setup was a part of the fake proposal, and this video was meant to drive the audience away from the love scandal. If your shooting the ultimate proposal has come to an end, may I please go to my room? I'm exhausted from all this, she annoyingly asked, and was about to leave when Steve caught hold of her hand and pulled her back. He placed his hand around her waist. She could feel her heart fluttering. Not even air could infringe between the two. Steve then slightly bent down to whisper, You're my fiancé. Do not forget that you have signed up for this. Just follow my command. Our fate has landed us here, so we would have to bear with this. Pack up, you guys, and do the needful, he added. Upon turning back to Christina, he glared. Neither you nor I are doing it willingly, but we have to abide by the agreement until the time we get rid of the scandal. Remember, darling, we are a couple, truly, deeply, madly in love with each other, and we should behave like it. He smirked playfully. Christina could observe something unusual in his eyes. It might be regret or fear of losing someone or something else. But it was not that regular Steve Wilson he used to be. Christina observed this when they were heading back to the hotel. After a few minutes, they arrived at the hotel. Steve opened the door for his lady and grabbed her waist as they moved inside the hotel. Steve then accompanied her to the room, kissed her forehead, and bid goodnight. She locked her room, fell onto her bed, closed her eyes and tried to recall all of the things that happened in the day. The enchanting setup, the Eiffel Tower, the aroma of scented candles, beautiful flowers, the ring, and, of course, Steve. It was beyond perfect to get ruined. Tears rolled down her cheeks again. Amid her thoughts, she was soon obstructed by a phone call. It was her sister, Anna, Hello, Anna. How have you been? Christina answered the call.
Hey, I just saw! Oh my god! Steve proposed to you? Chrissy, you were looking drop-dead gorgeous in that shimmery red gown. Everything was so ecstatic. The lights, the flowers, candles, and the Eiffel Tower. Every girl dreams for a proposal like that.
Anna seemed to be excited and happy, both at the same time. Nothing was real, Anna. It was all a setup. It was a fake proposal. She sighed. Why did you cry then? Anna questioned. I was acting, idiot. I was told to do so. There were cameras all around. It was scripted. And don't tell me I did it better than Steve. She cracked up. By the way, how did you get to know about the proposal? Christina inquired. Steve has posted the proposal video on his Instagram handle, Anna replied. Okay, I'll talk to you when I'm back home. Christina was tired and hung up the call. She took a shower and changed into something more comfortable. Later, she heard a rumbling sound and realized it came from her stomach. She was starving and decided to order something from the hotel's restaurant. She ate until her belly was satisfied, and thereafter decided to go out for a walk. She was strolling around when she overheard some quarreling voices. She moved in that direction and discovered that it was Steve, who was speaking over the phone.
Listen, it was not my fault. The photograph just spread like a forest fire. I would have told you, but it was too late by then.
His pitch got lower and then vanished. She also came back to her room and dozed off. A lady in a black gown, long entangled hair, and a man in a white shining tuxedo were dancing to the tunes of love. The man had placed his right hand on the lady's back while holding her right hand with his left hand, and the lady had placed her left hand on the man's shoulder. Their bodies got rubbed against each other as they danced. A spark ignited between them, their love gleaming in their eyes. The music turned calm in a while, and so did they. The lady rested her forehead on his chest and continued to swing. The man caressed her and embraced her as if he wanted to protect her from the world. And then the alarm bell rang. Christina woke up to the alarm clock and was amazed about what she'd dreamt of. Was that Steve in me? Considering this proposal to be fake, why am I dreaming of him? She wondered. That's when someone knocked on the door. She ran towards it. Ma'am, Mr. Steve is waiting for you at the reception, the attendant informed her. Okay, tell him I'll be there in 15 minutes, she replied. She rushed into the washroom, got ready within 15 minutes, and went to the reception area. Christina looked spectacular in a beige skater dress, damp hair, and red-tinted cheeks. Steve could not resist her beauty and was intrigued by her as she walked downstairs. They shared a glance and then took their flight back to New York. After a 7-hour flight, Steve dropped her home and left for work. Christina froze in shock to see her father when she entered the house. Anna hugged her tightly and whispered, I didn't tell him anything. It was Aunt Mary who sent him the proposal video on Messenger. You know, Chrissy, how he is. He's mad at you, but might not show. I think you should behave as if nothing has happened, Anna suggested. Okay. Christina greeted her father. Hi, Dad. When did you come?
How have you been, Chrissy? I landed today itself. You seem to be tired. Have you been overworking?
He questioned. Yes, Dad, being a neurologist is indeed a tough job, she said.
I hope you've been able to cope with your schedule.
He was concerned. Mr. Smith was hesitant to ask about Steve Wilson, so he just fooled around.
I've been invited to a college for a guest lecture. I'm gonna attend it and then head back home,
he informed them. His facial expressions changed every moment. He would fold hands a second and would scratch his head in another.
Christina, why didn't you tell me about Steve?
He asked in one breath.
Baby, you didn't even bother to seek my permission, and you've decided to marry him?
He grieved. Christina burst into tears, but Mr. Smith consoled her.
Chrissy, you haven't done anything wrong, but you must have kept me informed.
She sobbed. Dad, we were in a relationship, but I had no idea that he was going to propose to me.
Did his family approve of you?
He was worried. I think so. Actually, I haven't met them before. They live in Long Island, she justified.
Okay, so you must be having their contact number. You must have spoken to them, at least. We would have to plan an engagement party soon to make things official.
He sounded excited. But Christina avoided. You might be tired. Why don't you go and freshen up until I and Anna make your favorite lunch?
Okay, Chrissy. I'll go take a shower and come,
he said, and went inside the room. While Steve was in between his shoot, he got a call from his sister Gracie.
Hello, baby brother. How are you doing?
Just the regular stuff, Gracie,
he answered.
It's been a long time. Meet me at dinner today. We'll reach your house in an hour,
she directed. Steve agreed, and then hung up the call. Upon reaching Steve's penthouse, Gracie started preparing the dinner. Despite having a dozen helping staff, she preferred to cook herself for her brother. That's when the main door smashed open and Steve entered the house. He could sense the fragrance of freshly baked pasta.
Hey, Gracie, this aroma in the air has got me starving,
he chuckled and took a garlic breadstick. You can't eat anything until I get to know about this proposal thing, she restrained.
Oh, okay, fine. Her name is Christina. She's a neurosurgeon in Mount Sinai Hospital,
he concluded. You would be happy to know that Mom and Dad are also aware of this, and they want to meet your lady love, she teased him.
I take immense care to protect my privacy, but it happened all of a sudden,
Steve explained. Gracie was excited and inquired about the engagement party.
What? An engagement party?
He coughed. Of course, we would be delighted to meet Christina's family, she smiled.
I have a packed schedule. I think I would not be able to manage,
Steve excused. You will have to manage, my boy. How about next Sunday? She asked. Steve had no choice but to agree. Steve and Gracie had dinner together, and then she went home.
Nobody knows that this is a contract-based alliance, not a love relationship. Things are happening so fast, one after the other. This agreement may not turn into a regret,
Steve wondered. At midnight, a tall, muscular-built man was walking towards an apartment. He had covered his face with a black mask to conceal his identity. He was none other than Steve Wilson.
I miss you. It's one of my daily routines to keep a check on your apartment, to know that you've come back or not. I hope you will return soon.
He stared at the apartment and wondered. On the other hand, there was Christina, wondering about the dream that she had had. We were so close. Even our heartbeats were in sync when we were dancing. And the way he embraced me, and she fell asleep, while thinking about him. At the same time, in Italy, a girl in a floral dress with long, straight hair was sitting in her balcony, admiring a picture on her laptop screen and sipping her morning black coffee. "Just a few more days, then I'm coming home to you," she blushed. "Let's see whether you'll be able to recognize me after so many years of being apart," she mumbled to herself.
"Ma'am, your car has arrived. It will take you to the airport,"
someone informed her from behind. Who was this mystery girl? And who was Steve waiting for? Tune in to the next episode to know all this and much more.